The first thing is on page 17, that is our updated dress code. And like Mr. Nelms in the middle school, we went back to adding specific measurements that we can say, you know, you're within policy or not. And it's actually, just kind of for your information, it is the policy that we kind of had a few years ago with a ID card measurement. So we went back to that policy. Also on page 19, there's an update there. We clarified if students are in school suspension, if they are taking an online Tri-County course, they will not leave the in-school suspension room for an online course. They will stay in there. They'll only be leaving if they are going to a face-to-face Tri-County course. So that clarification was made. On page 29,
You've got page 28, you've got early graduation.
yes, page 28. That is our early graduation. If students are taking that option with the state required courses. So there's information there for parents if they would like to request that option and what steps they need to go to for their child to be approved for that. So that information is there. And then at the bottom of page 29, there's a highlighted update with our Tri-County Community Course offerings. We have tried to put out some updated procedures for these students to try to just help, we want to help them transition to the college life and being responsible for their learning, but at the same time, we're trying to keep them focused as well. So just some information there on how they're going to check in so that we can monitor them and make sure that they are keeping up with online courses and not just letting those fall to the wayside.
What is Moodle?
The platform that their course is on, it's just, that's what they log into, their account, that all their assignments are on.
I've never heard of it, so that's the reason.
Yeah.
Okay, that explains. Thank you.
Other questions for the high school?
I have a few questions. One was the tobacco policy, but I think that can be answered.
Hey, Mr. Lynn, if I'm sorry to interrupt real quick, I was taking a look at your policy, and it says tobacco products, and that would include smokeless and any other product that's derived from tobacco. I'm assuming the Zins, I know they're like a nicotine salt
Yeah.
or something, that I don't know whether the nicotine's got to come from somewhere. I don't.
It's not right tobacco, I don't know.
I don't know whether it's, we ought to look at whether or not that, and that policy's not been updated since 2011, so we ought to see. I'm looking to see if there's an update.
Yeah, they find curves around everything, and it's quicker than we are most of the time.
And what about vapes? The vapor things? Is that covered in this?
If it's got, if it has nicotine in it, it should be,
If it has THC, it's covered off.
Yeah, most school systems, I think, are taking a kind of a zero tolerance approach to the vape itself is just not a permitted device. We don't know what's in it, we're not gonna figure out what's in it, and we don't care.
Yeah.
You cannot have them on school.
Okay, that's
So
good.
we'll make sure
Every school is having the issues with vapes because they're so hard to catch. And I mean, we've got kids doing it in classrooms and it can happen so quickly. And like I said, and we do have things that can test them. If we think that it's something besides nicotine, we have, the SROs have drug kits that we can know if it does have THC in it or something like that, and then we can punish them accordingly. But going back to what he said about no tolerance, we don't have a tolerance for any vapes, so
Okay.
it's just hard to catch. Good.
A question I had on attendance, I guess specifically because of the high school, the 4 periods and stuff, you got to be there for half the school day, but is there a way for parents to know, like, I guess attendance is taken first thing in the morning, but if a kid misses later on in the day, so they're missing a period attendance, and I guess on Power School, there's no way for the parents to know that if they're there in the morning, it shows they're there, but not later on.
Right. So in the high school, we're on block attendance, and teachers take attendance each block. In the past, it has only been recorded in Power School first period. But teachers send letters to notify parents when their child has missed their individual class at 3, 6, and 10. So they are communicating that with parents. Rolling out into Infinite Campus, we are exploring the option of taking individual block attendance in Infinite Campus. We have tried that through Power School before, but just honestly speaking, it caused a lot of havoc on compulsory attendance letters. And that data was not accurate because it was, if a student was marked out all 4 blocks, it was counting them that they was missing 4 days. And so when we're sending compulsory attendance letters, that was causing an issue. But we are exploring that option with Infinite Campus to try to get it into the program in each block.
Okay. And then I had a question, I saw on the middle school, on your athletic thing, it said if a child's not there, if they're absent, unexcused absence there during the day, they couldn't play a sport that day. Does that follow through with high school as well, or is that?
I
Is that
think
just
that's in the NCSAA manual, that you have to be in attendance today of.
to be able
That is not in the manual, no, that is not a law. Attendance is left totally up to the LEA. And, I mean, I hate to speak for Ms. Sawyer, but I can speak to the previous years. We never had a policy where if a student was absent, they could not participate that afternoon or that evening in a sport.
As long as I've been in middle school athletic record, that's been a policy. Before, I inherited it before I come in. Unless it's excused, if the doctor didn't know.
Yeah, I can see an excused absence, you know, whatever. And one other question with athletics, it talks about if you're failing grades the previous semester, 9 weeks, you can't participate in athletics. But say we're passing in, but like they're failing all their classes this semester, can they still participate in athletics?
That's state law, state policy. It's based on the previous semester.
Okay. I just know in coaching, if they, with the shooting team, if they're starting to fail that semester, I generally,
Yeah, and each individual coach can have their own policy for their sport. It's maybe a little more, but this is for the school to say you're not eligible anymore. It has to be based on the previous semester.
okay. Yeah, just clarifying for me, thank you.
And a coach that does that, it would need to be in writing, and the parents would probably need to sign off that they got it and understood those rules, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, sure, that's good questions. Do you have anything else, Ms. Sawyer? Okay. All right. Facility updates, Mr. Mass.
So we have had a lot going on over the summer with our maintenance department. I'm gonna just go over some of these things and talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we've got, that we've done, and some of the things we're planning to do. So, first football stadium, on June the 19th, myself and Jason Marino, Mr. Buchanan, met with LS3P and looked at football plans, and we made some suggestions for some changes on those plans for the stadium. And they have assured us that they will have the plans ready and the bid package will be ready to go out by the end of this month. And by doing that, it will allow the companies to place the bids. Then obviously we'll have to accept a bid from someone, and they can go ahead and start ordering the materials and the stands to go in to be permanently placed in Big Oak Stadium. And they have said that the waiting time right now on the aluminum bleachers is about 3 to 4 months, so they feel like, there should be no problem. At the end of the season, when these bleachers come out, we can get somebody right in there on it, and there should be no problem for us to be back in Big Oak Stadium by August of next year. So should be good to go there. Summer maintenance projects there that are listed, thanks to some of that maintenance that I have done here at the school. They replaced the elementary gym hot water heater. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but when we had an issue with high pressure coming through back at the end of the school year, we blew up hot water heaters all over the school system. So they're working to try to replace those. Here in the next couple of weeks, they're going to be tearing down the ticket booth down at the lower gate and building back a wooden structure ticket booth for down there. And last year, you know, it was kind of condemned. It's got some bad cracks in it, it's leaning, so we didn't get to use it last year. So that, they'll have that done by the first varsity football game. One of the main things, Mr. Moody has talked about this already, that the maintenance department has taken on this summer is the installation of the new intercom system. The inside of the elementary and the high schools is 100% complete. They are just probably a week away from being finished with all the speakers on the outside of the building at the high school. Then they'll come back over here and put up all the outside speakers here on the elementary campus. And once this is completed, when they'll come in and train, I think it's September 23rd through the 27th. They'll be training the maintenance men, the administrators, and there should not be a place on either campus that isn't covered when someone needs to make an announcement or an on-call. So that is a huge improvement to what we have, and we're excited to get that finished up. Maintenance replaced all the ceiling tile in the RES cafeteria. They removed the window units out of the primary building and put window panels back in there. They have replaced 2 AC units, window units down at the kids' castle. They've replaced the rubber mulch at the kids' place and the upper RES playground there at the cafeteria. They've replaced the main water line in the primary building. And we've got painting in the elementary and at the high school that are going on right now. They're still painting, and we'll paint right up to the time the students come back. At the high school, especially, they've redone the weight room, and that's good because we, in partnership with EBCI, we were able to secure funds, about $63,000 to replace the equipment in the weight room. So that should be coming in within the next month, and that'll be installed. And so we're gonna have a brand new weight room facility there to help the living center. They've also been painting all the restrooms, and they have all those done except the ones in the middle school. They're painting the blocks 6 feet high, or 6 blocks high in all the hallways, and they're making really good progress. So got a lot done over there on that campus. Of course, we've had 4 young men hired for the summer. Former students and students that have helped with the mowing, the weed eating, and the campus beautification. They pressure washed all over the place, and they've done a really good job. And that, of course, is ongoing. And then I've got listed down here some lottery fund projects, and it's things that we plan to pay for out of lottery funds. One is the carpet in the central office, and that has already taken place. We've replaced almost all of the offices that had never been replaced, or had been replaced for probably 25 or 30 years in the hallways. They did that last week, and it looks really good. It's really helped the looks of our building. We also had the DOT came in, and they repaired all the cracks out in the parking lot. I don't know if you noticed that when you came up, but they filled those in, and they did that for free. So really like to say thank you to Tony Mintz for coming in and doing that. And we're going to have Luke Aldridge will be coming either the end of this week or first of next week, and he'll be doing a new seal coat on the entire elementary parking lot and central office parking lot here, and then repainting the lines. And it's needed done for a long time. So I'm glad we're going to be able to get that done. We have plumbers here that are going to be putting a shower down at the YDC and remodeling the women's restroom here in the central office, and we have all of the sinks, toilets, everything is here, and they'll just basically just be doing the installation on that. And then also this morning we've been waiting on bids for to replace the heat and air units at the elementary cafeteria and here at the central office. I do have bids. They came in just right before this meeting, so I'll share those with y'all in closed session if that's okay, and then you can take it up if you want to be approved. And then some other things that's coming, we're going to be replacing the shop hot water heater downstairs, the 2 large storage tanks at the high school. The hot water storage tanks are in really bad shape, and they're going to have to be replaced. We're going to be replacing one of the hot water heaters at the elementary cafeteria. We've got one that is working, so they're good to start school, but they have 2 in the building, and the other one, just to give them more hot water, needs to be replaced pretty soon. They'll be putting in new fence posts on the gate that's coming up the hill behind the elementary for the pickup and drop-off line. And there is a storm drain problem beside the stadium. And talked to Patrick and Roger about this, and it's kind of causing some washing problems on the playground, but we're gonna wait until the stadium construction starts in December to take that up, and hopefully can get it fixed as part of that. And then, obviously, I put down here a new elementary school, and I'll be talking to you about that in closed session, about some possible options there. Does anybody have any questions about facilities?
I've got one. The ticket booth, have you looked at the upper ticket booth as well as the lower?
I've not been down there, I'm gonna be honest.
If we can, I would recommend to go ahead and take care of the top one that's falling in on the back side.
The top side is,
The top one, yeah.
I will have.
you talking about the wall, where
Is it
the
the block wall?
or?
Yeah, the block wall.
Yeah, it's structurally sound, and we need to look at, we'll look at it too, that a mower clipped it. That's what put the hole there, but yeah, it's as far as structure sound, the one, he's talking about the lower one,
It's
it's
leaning,
bad,
it's
it's
in
bad.
bad shape.
Yeah, it's bad. So, but yeah, that one looks bad as it does, but we still need to fix that at some point, so, but it is structural.
I'll have Roger, Patrick go back and just take a look at it, make sure everything's good there.
And one other thing too, is that, you know, great report, by the way. We probably look at some way too of fencing them in or put some kind of gate fence around them, because here lately we're getting more and more surprised guests.
Yeah.
Because they can plug their phones in, or they want to get out of the rain, or whatever, so that's something we're gonna look at as well.
A way to lock them up.
Yeah, and another thing is too, we're gonna look soon, is if you notice the backside handicap ramp behind the football field, that's becoming, to me, a danger hazard. We're gonna remove that at some point and just leave the steps there, because we have other access for handicap ramps, but we're gonna put a fence there too, because we're having problems. People want to come in and get early seats during school day and things like that. So those are some things we're working on too, so we'll look at that.
Anybody got a question?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matheson. Grant updates. Looks like Ms. Wiggins.
Yes, good morning. So, we have been very fortunate in the list, in the last few months to receive feedback from various, grants that we have applied for. And just to draw to your attention, the school system applied for the Stronger Connections grant, and we were informed that we had been awarded that grant and the amount of $675,000. And we get to keep that for a 3-year span of time. So we're very, very fortunate to have that. We just received word, I think within the last 3 weeks, that we get to continue to keep our 21st Century After-School Program. That too will be for a 3-year span of time. I can tell you that some of our neighboring counties did not receive their grant, and they are scrambling to try to determine what to do with children after school. So we are very, very thankful to have that. And then the latest news that we received is Great Smokies awarded us $270,000. And this will be for a 3-year span of time, and we will utilize this money to pay for our mental health liaison, Ms. Pringle Jenkins. We will use this to fund her position for another 3-year span of time.
Now, the first one you mentioned, what can we spend that money on? I didn't get it.
A lot of that will be dissected and used at the middle school as well as the elementary school. So for Mr. Nell's purposes, we will have a middle school transition coordinator. And that, of course, now is Ms. Shayla Lomax, and she will take that position and begin working and leading students in and out of middle school, whether they're transitioning up from elementary or moving into high school. She will also be able to track a lot of data and do some interventions to make sure that students are on grade level. And then for the elementary portion of that, we will have someone in there who assists with behavioral issues. And I think Christy, correct me if I'm wrong, but that will be Leonard Chamberlain. And he will be able to assist with problematic behaviors, working through the rubric that you've seen through some of your discipline plans from the elementary school. So we are fortunate in a day and time where costs are out the roof. We're very blessed to have these extra funds coming through.
Thank you, Ms. Wiggins.
That's great.
Okay. Robbinsville Middle School Initiatives. Stewart and Christie and Cullen. Just try everybody in here. Just which one of you wants to start?
Well, I'll go first and kind of give the umbrella of it all, make it feel in a piece of everything. But as Mr. Moody alluded to earlier, we're in a situation in the middle school. Our our scores not doing what we need them to be, and there's various reasons for all that, but one of the things that whenever he asked me to take a job and come in and start doing this was, I started looking at how we restructure our schedule first. So the biggest change we made is we've added 5 minutes to every class to give them at least 60 minutes, and that meets new statute within North Carolina where every student has to have at least 60 minutes of math education a day. So we got 1 hour on classes. We're structuring things to try to limit being pulled out of class. One of my biggest goals is to protect disruption time. So when the kids are in class, there's no disruption, they're not being pulled out for this or that, especially math and reading science. They're getting their core, and that's one of our biggest focuses is improving core instruction. Even while they're in the class, the teachers are providing them grade level core instruction, not teaching them. Like I said, if you got a kid in 7th grade, but they're reading on 3rd grade level, we've still got to present them data shows with 7th grade reading material. So that's one of our main focuses, and Ms. Smith will talk more about that in a minute. And I've also changed our lunch schedule to add in some built-in MTSS time, which is meeting those kids kind of where they're at. So that gives time for the core instruction to be core instruction, and during this time, they'll be getting instruction where they are. If they're on the 3rd grade reading level, they're filling those gaps during the MTSS time during our lunch break. Every kid will still get a 30-minute lunch break, free range lunch, and there's time during that for them to be pulled out and get some intervention as well. And then Ms. Molnax, that she mentioned, with her transition, we'll be helping kids as they transition and get on the grade level by doing intensive interventions with students, both in math and reading.
If I could draw your attention, I gave you a sheet of paper that has Romersville Middle School on top. And I'll just continue with where Stuart left off. We have been working together as a team. We have pulled in additional resources from the Department of Public Instruction, including Terry Queen, who was our Far West Regional Consultant in Literacy. She's on our team. We have pulled in Paige Bode, which is also from the Department of Public Instruction. She's our math consultant for this region. And we are working with Jim Saltz, who is working with our Stronger Connections grant. He's tied into this as well. And Stuart and Grant and Shay and myself have all been sitting together and talking and looking at the data of the middle school. And we had a good meeting this summer, and we come up with 4 focuses for this year for the middle school. And they are, as he mentioned, as Stuart just mentioned, core instruction. Improving core instruction, making sure that teachers know their standards, improving the rigor within the classroom. Number 2 would be restructuring of PLCs, professional learning communities. They're going to help us and assist with that. Jim Saltz is coming in and working with Mr. Nelms and Jim are going to be working. He's going to be with him during their first PLCs to try to get that on board and make sure that those are working productively and the conversation is the way it needs to be of looking at our instructional practices. Vocabulary is the 3rd one, increasing our vocabulary, making sure it's on grade level and above. As Stuart emphasized that just a minute ago, making sure that we are not reading below grade level materials, that we are challenging students. Number 4 is what we call I do, we do, and you do. It's what the classroom teacher does. It's what we do as a whole group. We do, and what you expect the student to do. And this is a great way to differentiate instruction throughout the classroom too, especially with the you do. What do you expect each student to be able to do? So we are working with that, we're teaming with that together to look into that as a focus for this school year. The steps that have already been put in place, Stuart has already sent out and distributed a staff survey, which they gave them templates, and they worked together to come up with this survey, such things as addressing what staff believe the learning gaps are, looking at things like background knowledge, reading and math challenges, PLC questions. There was an extensive list of those questions so we could gather the feedback Not all the teachers have come back in with their results as of yet, but that's working. We're starting with them. Number two, the steps that we're working on are schedule of walkthroughs. They are creating a walkthrough guide that looks for administrators, what are we looking for when we go into a classroom, or is instruction with fidelity, are we covering the standards, how do we know that we're doing that, how do we know the teacher knows their standards, and it's fully conveyed to the students and what is expected. So we're working toward the creation of that walkthrough, and in collaboration with the members that I mentioned previously. We have already set up coaching with CKLA. Mr. Moody bought CKLA for Robbinsville. They did not have a core literacy program. And it is the same core literacy program that the elementary uses, so it will have that vertical alignment coming up from elementary to middle. So K-8 will all be using CKLA. So we have worked with Amplified and talking to them, and I have got permission to use NC-SIP funds to help with the expenses of coaching the people who have CKLA, which is Amplified, to come in here and actually coach our teachers in using that. So we're just not giving them a curriculum and saying, go for it. We're gonna have some coaching with that. And then the last.
The 15th is their first session.
Yeah, September 15th. And then lastly, I also was looking at coaching for Open Up, which is a core curriculum in math, all the way from elementary, and it will be vertically aligned all the way up to 8th grade with math. So we also want to make sure that teachers have had good professional development opportunities in using Open Up. So I feel like we are off to a good start. We've got a lot of things in place, and we have a lot of resources and help we feel like that are partner with us and are fully in with us to try to look at the improvement of the school. And I'm very excited. I left that meeting our meeting, and I felt really good about it. I think we all did, that we have got a really good team in place that can work together collaboratively to really make a difference.
Thank you, Ms. Mims. Cullen, do you have anything to add to that?
No, Ms. Mintz covered it. I've just, the last meeting was my first meeting with them, so I'm just getting my feet wet in it, but looking forward to getting the math board, make sure it's good and solid, so.
Good job. Okay. All right. All right, personnel. Looks like Ms. Wiggins again.
Yeah. So, I've got a packet here to give to Mr. Moody. He will brief you some names for recommendations during closed session. That will also include the information that Mr. Long presented to you about the Indian Education Program. The last thing that I have to give here is a request from Mr. Moody. He asked me to make this available to you. What you're looking at here is a table of job responsibilities that have been, I guess you could say, realigned to our strengths and weaknesses, the things that we are able to do as central office directors. So if you have any questions, that kind of aligns us with what we are tasked to do. The thing that I would point out is you will see two boxes over on the end that read for maintenance and for the bus garage. There's no way to capture all that they do. You heard Mr. Moody's report. I mean, they're responsible for keeping the lights on, keeping the building. I mean, there's no way to sit and put every single task into a box. They're amazing. We're very fortunate to have such hard workers. So what you'll see there is, of course, just their title and their numbers and extensions if you have any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Wiggins. This is impressive. Just a quick note, a couple months ago when I asked y'all about moving people around and putting the right people in the right places and doing the right things, this is the result of that. And, we're the head does, the body follows, and you're looking at the head of our school, and the teachers are our backbone, and we want to do everything we can to protect the integrity of the classroom and the sense of the teachers and what they need to do. But I tell you, I cannot ask for a better group of people to do these jobs. And like I said, when most people sort of get some time off in the summer, all these guys, David, Letitia, Dr. Sherper's here, Christy, Myra, Cullen, all our directors, been working 50, 60 hours a week. And I'm not asking them to. They just see what they need to be done, and they take care of it. That's evident in their reports today. So I can't thank them enough and thank y'all enough for trusting me to get them. But I really think we're going to have great things happen this school year. And as you can see there, because of the hard work of these guys and what they're doing, all the way down to the maintenance. Maintenance has been down man for what now? A year and a half. Unfortunately, you know, Josh is getting better, but it doesn't look like he might be able to return, so we may hire a fifth person for maintenance. But it's just amazing what can be accomplished when people set their mind to it, and do what's in the best interest of the kids. So I tell you, I just couldn't ask for anything better. And I appreciate everyone.
Each one of them have multiple responsibilities, which is incredible. This is impressive.
That's what it takes to run a school.
Yeah.
So, and the list will be growing. So, thank you.
Mr. Henning, board policies.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Each of you have in front of you two policies, 3220 and 3225 / 4312 and 7320. As Myra pointed out, we really need to get a policy in place as the school year starts. And I have some more things that I want to look through with these policies, but none of them are nearly as important as getting in front of you and getting in place a prohibition on, or not a prohibition on, but a treatment of how we're going to expect AI technology to be used. It's here, it's on top of us. You know, right now, I could be reading from the script, but I got AI to write me to present this to you all, and you wouldn't necessarily know it. It's definitely a challenge in the educational environment. So that's the main focus of the changes in 3220, and also to get some professional development in place to help teachers get ready to also manage it. And I shouldn't have said prohibition, because what we have a prohibition on, I think the way we're headed academically is you're obviously prohibited from using it as your own, passing off as your own work, because that's just another kind of plagiarism. But teachers are told to use it as a tool and to get used to the fact that it's not going away. So we're trying to keep kind of an open-minded approach. And Myra, if I'm misstating anything, or if you want to jump in and add anything, you feel free.
Very clear on it. There is no stopping it.
Yeah.
So there's no blocking it, there's no stopping it. So we have to accept it and guide it in the correct direction, hopefully. And have some, you do this, here's the consequence. So there will be some cause and effect on consequences if you do plagiarize or whatever, to go along with our policies. But yeah, we're gonna have to get it in there and get training and stuff like that. So.
The big change to the other policy, the 3225 and all those other numbers I read, is adding a use agreement that parents and students are gonna have presented to them about use of AI and all the other things that are in the acceptable use policy, that or the responsible use policy for all technology type resources that you have. And she's revised both for students and employees, signature form for that use agreement that says they understand the policy about AI use and how it's to be used. So getting that in place and sort of disseminated out to everybody right now is important. I apologize that you're just now seeing it. That's on me, because Myra had drafted this probably 6 weeks ago. So I apologize, it's just coming to you. Take your time with it if you need to and read over. I'm happy to answer any questions. And Myra's probably much better equipped to answer than I am. But I do think, as she has said, it's important to get that in place to start the school year.
So this is first reading, and so we need to, next board meeting, we need to approve these.
Unless you're going to waive a first reading and adopt it on second reading. Now, I know this is, again, sort of last minute, but I think the intent is to have it approved by the start of school. You can consider doing that. So first reading is not required by law. It's just good. It's a better practice because it'll take time and slow down.
So we need to approve this today.
It'd be my recommendation, and again, I know you're just seeing it, so take your time with it. And
Let me add too, if you'll notice in the acceptable use policy, I refer back to other policies, which you have copies of these also. One is guidelines for the teachers and how to use it in the classroom, acceptable. And one is guidelines for the parents and the students. that has the cause and effect. You know, if you plagiarize, whether it's copying it straight out of an encyclopedia or having AI do it for you, it's still plagiarism, and this is your cause and consequences. So, you know, it's up to you whether you want to go ahead and adopt it today, that's fine. If I need to make changes, we can make changes, that's all right too. Or if you have any questions, please call me. Colin or myself, and we'll work with you, okay?
Thank you, Myra.
So what's the disciplinary actions if they use AI or whatever?
That is, I don't do discipline, I do technology. So that is up to the principals and the assistant principals to decide what your disciplinary action is. Like I know if you break the Chromebook, you pay for it. You know, if you're on inappropriate websites, then you lose your internet rights, or you lose your device. So this we have to have a conversation, what are your consequences? Okay, so
I don't think it goes into the detail of the
specific
policies about
consequences,
what the
because it's
consequences
more of
are.
a technology thing on my side, more than a discipline.
It's
thing.
actually, it's an honor code violation. I mean,
Yes,
it's cheating
it is.
what
It's
it is.
cheating.
And that it should be addressed in all the handbooks, I
Yeah.
would think.
It would fall under, as Myra was saying, and Mr. Mattson, that it would all fall under the same thing as just if you directly copied out of some other source and didn't give attribution, because, you know, AI is worse in a lot of ways, because, and that's what, there's lots of lawsuits all across the country about whether AI is just a giant plagiarism machine, where it's been fed all this stuff, and it doesn't know where it all came from, and you won't either if you take it and just spit it back out at us. So, and that's, I think that's the important part, and again, as Myra says, you can make further changes from today, but having some notice out there, hey, y'all, don't just go to ChatGPT and tell me that's your, you know, your English essay. We're not gonna be okay with that.
I know 100 years ago, when I was in school, if you plagiarize, you got a 0.
Yep.
I mean,
And that's part of the discipline.
Yeah.
And AI is basically the internet on steroids. And, it's unreal. The limits, what it can do, it's scary.
Yes.
But it's not only changing how we do things in school, it's changing jobs. Millions of jobs will be lost because it does it for you. So it's a shift not only in school, but a shift in culture. And when we went to our conference, and that was one of the bigger topics with AI, wasn't it? And how far it's went just in the last few years, the information it pulls. And all you gotta do is ask it, and you can do it. Cullen came to my office one day, we said that, we told AI to make a country song based on chickens or something like that. It spit out a song singing and everything just like that. It's amazing. But the one thing the fail-safe that I learned at this conference is about the plagiarism. It's really simple way to find out if a kid uses AI or not. It goes back to the teacher, sit down, build a relationship with that kid, knowing what they're capable of doing, and sitting down afterwards, okay, tell me about your paper. What did you mean on page 3 when you said this? So there is things that's simple that they can use to make sure a kid, but like I said, it's just.
And that's one of the things with the training, we've got to get some PD out there, not only for the students, but for the teachers, so they can understand and use it. I mean, there's wonderful things out there for the teachers to use in their classroom.
On the topic briefly too, there's some downsides to it and concerns, like
Oh, yeah.
it hallucinates. There's been some attorneys that got in trouble. This was real high profile in Texas. These guys filed a brief that had all these cases cited to it. The judge started looking at it and he couldn't find any of the cases or anything that it said in there. Because AI just made it up.
Made up the cases, wow.
I mean, yeah, and it's called a hallucination.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's made up out of thin air.
I heard an ad for some technology company the other day that runs an AI product, and they said IP liability free, meaning it's not plagiarized from somewhere else somehow, and now hallucination free. And I thought, if you went to 7-Eleven and you saw a Kit Kat bar and it said hallucination free, would you buy it? I just don't understand how that's that would worry me, and that's the kind of thing we're dealing with. So getting our staff up to speed just as quick as we can that this thing's here and getting ready to deal with it, I think is important. So I do recommend you waive a first reading and adopt this on second.
What kind of technologies do we have now to detect it? I know like, a report you could put through and it would look at it, but.
It doesn't work. And speaking of a case, there was a young lady in college, she was getting her PhD and she turned in her thesis. And they put it through one of these detectors and it said it was AI generated. Well, there is a huge lawsuit because it was not AI generated and she lost everything.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's not dependable. It's not like the old timey plagiarism thing where you would write it and it would pick it up.
Yeah.
It can't do that.
It's going to be a lot more what Mr. Moody said, of teachers that know this kid didn't just suddenly
Yeah,
become,
that's
you
what,
know.
and that's the reason, one of the reasons we need to go ahead and get this done, so I can get these policies out. I can get
I
it to
thought
the
it-
students, I can get
It's
it to
in,
the
it's in your
parents.
packets.
And
Yeah, because apparently, I
there's
guess
no way to detect.
at college, my son was at, they can detect some AI
Yeah,
generated stuff.
but you
But
cannot
they said if you
say
take that, do Google Translate to another language, and go back to English.
And then it's gone. So there, and then, like I said, that one young lady, she lost everything. And there's a huge lawsuit, but she'll never get that back.
Yeah.
So it boils down to the teachers knowing your student, knowing what they're capable of doing, and picking up on the hallucinations as he says.
But you notice going off what they said too here lately about Google. Google has already been tampered with it and already changing history around and things like
Yes.
that. And so it's dangerous, so.
When you do a Google search now, the first thing that pops up is an AI generated explanation of what you just searched for.
Yes.
Yes, it's wild. Yeah.
Are we done with all of this? Okay.
Just beginning.
We have only just begun.
Mr. Carringer, would you mind reading the motion, please? Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
I'm sorry, just a minute, are you going to take
Oh.
action on the policies themselves? Because I think we are asking you to entertain a motion to waive the first reading and adopt it as presented.
Okay, do I have a motion to waive the first reading on the Technology and Education Program and Technology Responsible Use Policy Code 3220 and 3225? Do I have a motion to waive the first reading and go straight to the second? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you all.
Yes, sir. Now, do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So, go ahead.
No, he's
Pursuant to the provisions of North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 and 143-318.11C, I move the Graham County Board of Education go into closed session to receive advice from the attorney for the Graham County Board of Education, which advice comes within the purview of the attorney-client privilege. The advice will be general legal advice about legal issues or legal matters. Pursuant to provisions of North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11C, I move that the Graham County Board of Education go into closed session for the purpose of considering personnel matters as defined in and allowed by the North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A6 and North Carolina General Statute 115C 321. We need it to cover student matters too.
I don't know if there is student matters.
Typically, it's just those first two covers most of the time.
Yeah, I think that's it. Do I have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, we're in closed session. Okay. Mr. Moody, personnel, and there will also be bids.
We'll let, give the floor to Mr. Matheson to talk about bids and coaching contracts.
So, the first bid that I have is for a heat and air unit to be replaced in the central office. And I recommend that you, accept the bid from Ritz Refrigeration Service for $190,500.
Do I have a motion to approve this bid that Mr. Matheson just presented? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
The second bid is to replace the heat and air in the elementary cafeteria. And it is also from Ritz Refrigeration Service for a total of $68,000.
Do I have a motion to approve the bid for the refrigeration unit for the elementary cafeteria?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
And those are water refunds.
Those are water refunds, is how that would be paid, yes, use water refund. And then, also would recommend that you accept, the, high school coaching contracts, page 1 of what I gave you, what I handed out to you.
Okay.
I have to recuse myself on page 1 because I mentioned.
Do we need to note for the minutes that Mr. Lynn took no part in the discussion of approval of that list?
Now, do I have to ask for approval for his recusal? Or
No, sir, he
just
just
accept
recused
it?
himself on that basis.
Okay.
That's all.
Do I have a motion to approve the high school coaching supplements as presented to us?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
And I recommend that you, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Any opposed? Okay.
And I recommend that you, accept page 2 of the coaching contracts, which would be the middle school coaching supplements.
And Mr. Chairman, I have to recuse myself on page 2.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the coaching contracts as presented to us? For the middle school, I'm sorry, for the middle school.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recommend, as the Graham County School Board's attorney, to be John Henning, Campbell Shatley Law Firm.
Do I have a motion to approve Mr. John Henning as from Campbell Shatley Law Firm as our board attorney?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you all very much.
Very well. Thank you. Don't have to read it. Okay.
I'd like to present the personnel list discussed in closed session to be approved for hiring, in which, once that's approved, I will notify everyone that needed about that. So,
Okay, now, do I have a motion to approve the personnel list that was presented to us in closed session? And the names and positions will be presented to the public.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Who was the first on that? I'm sorry. Y'all sound so much alike. You were. Okay. Thank you.
Any opposed? Okay.
I would like to present to you the substitute list for approval for this month to be added to our new sub program so they can start being t-shirt using them this first month. So I'm asking that you approve the sub list, substitute list that also will get out to the public.
Do I have a motion to approve the sub list as Mr. Moody has presented to us?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? And Ms. Klein, I've been informed by our attorney that I can vote. So I will be voting on everything. All right, Mr. Moody, go ahead.
That's it for personnel. Just a couple of other announcements coming up. The next board meeting will be, Charlotte, what's the next board meeting? What's the first?
I don't have my phone.
I don't have
It's the
mine.
first Tuesday
In September.
in September. Somebody can look it up. Sorry.
That's fine, I should have had it on here. My apologies. September.
Should be the third.
September 3rd.
Yeah, it should be the third, yeah.
September
Doing the math in my
3rd.
head.
Just as a reminder, two things, a week from Monday, we get kids. Students are coming back and we're excited, yes.
10 a.m.?
Yes.
10 a.m., yes, ma'am.
And then, for those that are interested, on the 14th, Ron Stevens put together a prayer walk for our schools on Wednesday evening. So it's like put that out there, in case anybody's interested in being a part of that. He's pulling, talking to churches right now and see who would be interested. So, just let you know. That's all I have.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We are now adjourned.
Yeah, who brought us that?